Well, alright. This has been the trend for most of the developers out there, that for them to see any new changes that implemented in their code, they have to close their kivy or kivymd window just so that they can rerun their code. Well, if you ask me, this is frustrating and time consuming. Kaki, a Python but kivy specific library, brings onto the table hot reload. The hot reload feature aims to eliminate this loop that all a developer has to do is save a file, and on the fly he or she is able to see the changes implemented on the kivy or kivymd window. So how do you incorporate hot reload into your development process? Well, this video is meant to exactly show you how you need to set up your environment to get things kicking. So without further ado, let's get to it. So I'm going to open my terminal. I'm going to navigate to my desktop. Okay, and in my desktop I'm going to just make a directory. I'll just call it yt reload. Okay, I'll cd to yt reload, and in the same directory I'm going to open code. Okay, now I don't know how you set up your environment, but for me I like to have one file that contains the hot reload logic and a directory that is going to hold the rest of my files. Okay, so that's exactly what I'm going to do, but this is at a preference. I don't know how you set up your development environment, but this is how I do mine. Okay, so I'm just going to create a main.py file. Now the main.py is going to hold the hot reload logic. Okay, and then I'm going to make a directory that is going to hold the rest of the files that I require. So I'll just call it yt reloads. Then let's switch to the yt reloads. Now in here I'm going to create two files. I just need two files for illustration. So I'll just call it yt logic .py and yt logic.kv. Okay, switching back to the parent directory, I'm going to activate my virtual environment. So I'll just say python and yt. Why not? And then I'm going to activate the environment yt being activate. So our yt virtual environment is activated, and you can see it on the right of my screen. Now, after setting up or after activating a virtual environment, of course, the next step is to install all the required libraries and modules, but we just require one library and two modules. So just say pip install kaki, kivy, and kivymd. Okay, so I'm going to let it install, and then I'll write. So I have the kaki library, kivy and kivymd modules installed in the yt virtual environment. So let's get coding now. Let's see exactly how we can incorporate hot reload into our development process. And I'm going to open main.py where the hot reload logic is going to reside. So these are the inputs that I require. So you'll say from kivy. So let's start from kivy dot factory import factory. Okay, from kaki dot app import app, and finally from kivymd dot app import md app. So if you're not using kivymd, you're using kivy. It's just the same process from kivy.app import app, right? Now with that, I'm just going to create a class that is going to hold the required constants for kaki. So I'll say class hot reload. Why not? It's going to inherit from app, which is a class from kaki.app, sorry, and md app, which is a class from kivymd.app. Now we require three specific constants defined in a hot reload class. So the first is classes. This is a dictionary that is going to hold my root class. Okay, so the key is the name of my root class, and the value is the path to the root class. Okay, after that, we need to tell kaki which paths it has to auto reload. Okay, so in this case, I want all my paths auto reloaded, right? So I just say all my paths reloaded. So I'll just say set recursive to true. Okay, apart from the auto reloader paths and the classes, we also need to tell kaki where to load the kv files. So this list that is going to contain paths to your kv files. So for this specific project, we only have one class, right? I mean, we have only one kv file that we've created in the yt reloads directory. So that's the only class we're going to pass in here, right? So what is the name of the class? The name of the class is it's found in the yt reloads directory. Okay, it's called yt logic.kv. That's done. So if you have multiple .kv files, just use the same procedure to include them in your hot reload class. Apart from that, we're going to define a function that is going to build our actual app. So instead of using the function build, for kaki you use build app. Okay, we're going to pass self as the first argument. That is must, we all know that. And then in here we're going to have we're going to build our app using the factory class. Okay, and then finally I'm just going to say if name is equals to name run class. So hot reload run. Okay, so this is what we require for your hot reload setup. Okay, but I haven't passed in the class because we haven't yet defined the class. So I'm just going to define the class that we require, just so that you can see exactly how hot reload works. Okay, I'm going to minimize my window, just set it on this other side. Right, so I'm going to import box layout so that my class, my root class is going to inherit from box layout. So uix.box layout import md box layout. And we're just going to call this a box build. It is going to inherit from md box layout and pass. Now if this is our class, if this is the root class that for this case, this is the root class that we have defined, right? So I'm going to pass it here. This is where I'm going to pass it. So it's called box build, right? And what is the path? It is found, this is the path, yt reloads and then dots yt logic. That is true. So this is the path to the box build root class, right? Now with that said, now you use factory class to build your application. So just say return factory.boxbuild. And just like that, I've added my class and my kv files to the hot reload class. So to see this in practice, I'm going to set my window size to just to a small size so that you can see. So I'll just say from kivy .core.window import window. Sorry for that, window. And then I'm going to set the size of the window.size. I'm going to set it to just 360 640. That's like the size of a phone screen, right? Now if I run this, if I run my code to ensure that everything is working fine, you say debug, set it to true, python main.py. Okay, so if it loads without no errors, we're good to go. So now let's see exactly how hot reload works. This is where the magic happens. So opening my .kv file, I'm going to import the box build. But there's something you need to note here, that once normally when you're defining your root class in the .kv files, this is how we're supposed to define it, like box build, right? And then the rest of the code, for example, md toolbar. Let's give it a title. I'm going to set it to hot reload, right, and save. But you will see that we get an error. It raises a factory exception error saying that unknown class box build. So what is the problem? Well, I've learned that when you're defining classes in the .kv files, this rule has to be overlooked. Okay, you forgo the rule that says that defining a root class, all you have to do is just pass in the name of the root class, the column, and the rest of the tree, right? So when you're defining your root class when you're with the hot reload incorporated into your development process, you define your root class just like you define other classes. Okay, once you do that, then your code will just run fine. So if you press save, you'll see we have hot reload. We can see the changes automatically updated on my hot reload kivymd window. So why not add something else? So I'll just pass in, I can say an md float layout, right? In this I can just pass an md icon button. Okay, and I'll just say icon. Let's call it. I can say add. Is there an icon named add? We're about to see. So once I press save, you'll see that the changes are immediately, automatically on the fly updated on my kivymd window. So look, so there's no icon added there. So let me just pass in something that we know close. Close is there. So we have the close. You can see immediately we have the hot we have the md icon button updated. So if I change the orientation to vertical and save, you'll see the changes are updated on the fly. So that's how you incorporate hot reload in your development process. So like I've said, you have to define the constants, the classes, which is a dictionary that's going to hold a key and key value pair. The key is the name of your root class, and the value is the path to your root class. The auto reloader path, the kv files, and then instead of using the build function, you use the build app function, and then you use the factory class to eventually or ultimately build your application. Okay, and with that you will have incorporated hot reload into your development cycle. So happy coding, and see you in the next.